Welcome back. Happy New Year. I hope you had a great break. It was always wonderful to relax and not have to get up and be on a schedule. So the hard part is this week we're back on a schedule. And some people like to get back on the schedule of eating healthy, eating better than we do in the holidays, lots of sweets and rich foods during those days off. So tonight I'm just gonna do something simple. I'm just gonna show you how to make some chicken, and then I cook my chicken and then I use it for the rest of the week. And I'm just gonna throw together a little taco salad because it has everything that I like in it, and it's healthy, and it's just a work night. So I just poured a little olive oil in my pan, and that is just to get my chicken cooking in the pan so it doesn't stick. One thing I want you to remember about when you're doing chicken, and this is tenderloins, which are like chicken strips, and I'm just gonna put in my pan. My pan is on number 5, which is just like medium. The oil is just so it doesn't stick. The one thing I was starting to say about chicken is you want to be very careful and not touch anything. Okay, chicken has the potential of salmonella just because it's raw when it's not cooked, and so the wrapper has those potential bacteria in them. So my tongs might have it, this has it, so this is going straight into the garbage. One moment. And this is going to go into my sink. I'm not going to use it again unless I wash it. Okay, so I'm gonna put that in my sink. I can get another pair. So while we're cooking our chicken and nothing's happening, I'm not frying them, it's not sizzling and bubbling, and I just turned my stove on. It will. And I'm gonna let it cook once it gets hot enough, about 6 minutes on each side. So that is my trick with cooking chicken, that you get it done but not overdone. 6 minutes, flip it, 6 minutes, and then I take it off out of the pan and I put it on foil, wrap it up, or I put it on a plate and cover it with foil. And that's called resting. And what will happen is the chicken will continue to cook a little bit from the heat, and that will help your chicken stay moist inside, not dry out, and not be overdone. And this is a technique that is also used when you're cooking beef and hamburgers, especially steak, especially people who like steak medium rare and rare. That's when there's a little more pink inside. The other rule about our chicken is no pink. Okay, so when we're ready to eat it or cut it up and use it, we want to make sure that inside, the very thickest part, it's white. So chicken, turkey should be white on the inside, and then of course meat is brown, and you can have that little pink. All right, there's my chicken. It's starting to simmer, and while it's cooking, I'm going to get my ingredients ready for my salad. And the only seasonings I put on my chicken, and this is pretty much every night I use this because it's kind of basic. Some pepper. I don't put salt on. Most people and most chefs use salt, and a lot of salt. I can add salt later. I personally don't like salt. It makes me feel full and retain water. A lot of my other foods have salt. And then I'm going to put cumin, which is a spice that's in a lot of Mexican foods, taco type dishes. And so I'm just going to sprinkle. And notice I didn't measure. So when I'm cooking like this on the stove, I don't necessarily need to measure. I'm not going to dump a huge amount, and I can adjust the way I like it. Okay, so remember, we're going about 6 minutes, both sides. So that means this video is going to be at least 12 minutes. All right. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to flip it. I'm not going to put a lid on it. If I put a lid on my chicken, that's going to keep the heat in, and that's going to do more of a steaming, which is great. That's a fast way to cook chicken, especially if I'm going to use it in a dish, a casserole or something that's mixed. That steaming keeps the moisture in, but I don't get it browned on the outside, which tastes good and it looks good too. Okay, there's lots of ways to cook chicken and other meats. You can cook them in the oven. baking them, broil, that's like on a grill, fast heat. So anyway, this is just pan saute, not frying. Frying would be like I'd have a lot more oil in there, okay? So I'm not frying my chicken, okay? Now, in the meantime, I'm gonna make a taco salad, and your taco salad can be anything you want as far as your lettuce, your greens, okay? And restaurant taco salads usually is an iceberg lettuce because it's crunchy, it's good, and lots of different kinds of taco salads in the big shell or like a tostada that's just on a tortilla. So, and anyway, I'm gonna use some spinach. Spinach is a really healthy green. It's got iron in it and it's dark. And then I have some baby romaine. So this is not your typical lettuce for a taco salad. And I am not putting any dressing on it. Okay, I'm gonna make a hot kind of taco salad. I'm gonna sneeze in just a moment. That's probably from the pepper and it went down, okay? And I'm the only one here. So my chicken is still cooking. I've got that. I am gonna add cheese to my taco salad a little later. But while I'm waiting, I'm gonna cut up some tomatoes. And I just use the little cherry tomatoes just because they're easy. They stay fresh maybe a little longer. And there's no big way to chopping these. I do use a serrated knife, the kind with little edges, because it's easier for tomatoes to cut. Knives with a straight edge sort of slide right off. Okay, I'm just gonna cut these in quarters. Again, no specific measurement here. Okay, there's my tomatoes. I'm also gonna add some red pepper. Pretty much I'm just using what I have in my refrigerator. Okay, now red pepper, I just want small pieces. These are going to get sauteed in my pan, and I think I showed you this before when I made a quesadilla. So I don't think I made a taco salad, so kind of the same thing. Salads are a great way to get all your food groups, or at least your variety. I have protein, I'm gonna get my greens, which is vegetables, and actually I have a lot of vegetables, tomatoes and peppers. The cheese will be dairy. I'm gonna add some avocado, which you can put it as a fruit or a vegetable. So I have a lot of vegetables. Now as far as fruit, that could be my dessert or a snack of berries or grapes on the side. Grains, I'm gonna add some of my tortilla chips, and then I have grains. So I have protein, I have fruit and vegetables, basically. I have some dairy, and I have some grains. So I've got all 5 food groups, and I'll just turn my camera a little bit. I'm gonna have pretty good rainbow. I've got red and yellow peppers and tomatoes. I have green avocado. Of course, blue and purple are easier with the fruit. Okay, so when I'm looking at my chicken, it's still cooking. It's getting cooked on the one side, white around it. This piece is a little thicker. I'm gonna go just a little bit longer. It's been about 4 minutes. We want 6 and 6. We could go 6 and 5. If I stay longer on the first side and then flip it on the second, I'll be okay. All right, I already cut up some avocado. I'm not gonna cook my avocado, it's just gonna go on later. Again, I have a mixed cheese. You can use whatever kind of cheese you want. And here's my cilantro. This is a herb that's used often in Mexican food and stews. So I'm gonna take these, I'm using my kitchen shears, and I'm just gonna snip. And I am not gonna worry about the stem parts, because I'm just gonna snip that. This is going in with my peppers and tomatoes, so it's like a saute, okay? Now, you can cook as much chicken as you need for however many people are eating. These are chicken tenders, okay? So chicken strips, they cook faster, they're a little cheaper than a whole big chicken breast. You can get frozen, this was fresh, it just depends on what you want. No breading, breading adds calories because it's been added, and probably if it's frozen, it's been a little bit processed, maybe even a slight cooking, okay? So this is straight up chicken, it's good. All this would be considered whole food. because there's nothing added. Okay, and that's one of the things when a New Year resolution about eating healthy is eating whole foods. Foods that are in their natural state. They either came out of a tree, out of the ground, or an animal product, okay? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do my first turn on the chicken. Got my different tongs, okay? So you can see it's still pink in the middle, and there's nice and brown because this is a hot pan, but it's not super duper hot. And I actually might turn it down. It's on 5. And just turn these over. Do that a little better. And the brown is really, it tastes good. It's called, you know, you're browning the meat. That's a cooking term. All right, so again, I'm gonna add the same seasonings. Oh, just a little bit of shake of my pepper. I prefer pepper over salt. I don't salt anything unless it's a very, very specific recipe. And more cumin. Now you could add chili powder if you really want it spicy. The cumin is for me an all-around flavor that I can use in a lot of different things. I eat a lot of quesadillas. I eat a lot of taco salads, and so I'm going to use this chicken again. Now for me tonight, I'm just going to use maybe two pieces, maybe one, and then I'm going to wrap up and save the rest. And when you're cooking with food, maybe 4 days in the refrigerator. You can use leftovers, 3, but I wouldn't go past 4 days. So when you're looking at your leftovers, think, oh, when did I have that last? 5 days is really like the big limit, 4 to 5, depending on what it is. It doesn't taste as good, and some food starts to get perhaps a little mold on them. Just depends on what it is. All right. So this is going, I still have my 6 minutes, so I still have to talk to you for 6 minutes. When you're thinking food, you know, we get stuck in the same routine, but if the routine is healthy, that's okay to eat the same things. You really want to remember, try to get food groups, grains, fruits, vegetables, dairy, and protein doesn't have to be animal products, doesn't have to be meat. It can be eggs and nuts and peanut butter. We went through this last year. And then you also want that rainbow, so you want reds and orange and yellows and greens and purples and blues. And those things, there are purple vegetables, eggplant, purple onions. But again, blueberries are awesome, okay? So I'm gonna keep letting this cook. Now, the big trick with chicken, if I was cooking a bigger piece of chicken, I would do 8 minutes both sides, okay? So when you're learning how to cook meats, poultry, chicken, fish, or beef, pork, you learn how the technique, bake, broil, fry, saute, braise, all these different cooking terms, and you learn them from a cookbook, recipe, watching cooking shows, looking in magazines from your family. And then once you learn them, it just depends on what type of meat and how long, the amount you're cooking, and then that's the time that's involved. So if I had a whole chicken breast that was thick and bigger, 8 minutes, again, I want no pink in the middle when I take it out of the pan, and I'm gonna put it on a plate, and I'm gonna cover it with foil and let it rest. So I used to cater weddings, and I did a lot of chicken. I would do 5 Costco bags of chicken breasts all day long. And then I'd let them rest, and I'd do it 8 minutes, and I set my timer, and then you store it and use it for later. So that's the trick about chicken. Again, practice, practice, practice. Okay, so I only have to go maybe 5 minutes this side because I went a little bit longer. And pieces that are small are going to go faster. And how do I check if it's pink inside? I just take my knife and I'm going to look at it. So I'm going to do this so we can kind of hurry up. And I'm going to look, and I really don't see pink in that one. So I'm going to put it on my plate, okay? And I'm going to check the middle of all of them. Now you're going to think that wasn't very long. Well, these little chickens don't take very long, okay? And I can't get that one open. Sometimes I can just pop it open with my tongs. My pan, the oil is pretty much gone, so I don't Don't need much. It's still a little pink inside. I don't think you can see that up close. Can you see that up close? It's a little still pink inside. I'd rather be a little bit overdone than not. Remember, I'm going to put it with foil. I know this bigger piece is not. I think that one is. Sometimes you can tell. And just for time, I'm going to take this off and I can always put it back on. Okay, this is what I need about covering it up. I'm going to cover it all up like that, and I'm going to let the steam keep cooking it. It's going to keep cooking on its own because it's hot on the inside of the chicken, but it makes your chicken perfect, and the steam, instead of going away, is going to go back in the chicken and add some moisture so it's really, really tender. Okay, so you can have your food as tender as you like, as moist as you like, just make sure it's not pink. Okay, now my pan, there it is. It's fine. It just has what we'd call chicken browning from the chicken and the oil. My heat is off. The pan is hot, I can tell. And all I'm going to do is add just a drop of olive oil, and I really don't have to add much. Okay, so when we're using oil in our cooking, olive oil is really, really good. And that was all I'm going to use. And then I'm going to go ahead and my heat is down to 4. There's my tomatoes and my peppers. I'm going to save the cilantro for the little bit later. This doesn't take very long. Oh, you can see my heat on the video. Okay, so when you hear it sizzle like that, that's a saute. So sauteing is high heat, but I'm really only on a 4 because my pan was hot, and not very much oil. If I was frying, I would have a lot more oil. So foods that you fry, fried chicken and other things, I don't fry very much, you would have more oil, okay? So this is a saute. This is high heat. I'm gonna add, again, more pepper. I'm not gonna worry about the cumin because I have some on my other. And I'm gonna use just my rubber scraper. With a Teflon pan, either a rubber scraper or a wooden spoon. We don't want to use metal on our pan, pushing it around, because that scratches your pan. I need a little water. I drink hot water with lemon, and that gives me like the feeling like I'm drinking something during the day. I get extra water, and I get some vitamin C. So instead of plain old water all day long, which we're supposed to have a lot of, I make hot lemon. Okay, what's happening here is these are hot, and so they're starting to soften. And again, when you're cooking, you're gonna either look up recipes online, you're gonna watch shows, you're gonna look at magazines, look at cookbooks, ask your mom, ask your grandma, ask your dad, ask somebody who cooks in the house. You will learn by doing, okay? I'm gonna put the cilantro in, and I'm just gonna push that around. Herbs and spices will cook down. They'll add it to your ingredients, the flavors as you go. Some things like soups, stews, you add them in the beginning. All right, this is cooking. Avocado's going on last on my salad. We usually don't cook avocado. Cheese I'm gonna put actually in the pan. Instead of your traditional taco salad where you have your lettuce and maybe it's in the fried taco shell, and then you put the meat and the cheese and the olives and all the other stuff. This I'm mixing it in the pan and putting it on top of my salad, especially in the wintertime when I want still warm food for dinner, not a cold salad. Okay, again, here's my lettuce bowl. I didn't dress it, meaning I didn't put any dressing on it. Because instead what I'm going to do is, and I prefer a verde salsa. I think I showed you this before. I'm just going to pour a little bit on in my pan. And what this is going to do is just add some liquid to my tomatoes and peppers and tomatillo or green tomatoes, I'm not sure. Green. I like it. It's not as acidy as red salsa. Okay, so there, that's cooking, and I've turned the heat down because I don't need to make it softer, and I'm going to keep it, push it kind of together, and then I'm going to take the cheese, and I'm just going to go ahead. It's almost like, you know, like a nacho. I'm putting the cheese on there. I love cheese, but cheese has a lot of calories in it because there's the fat in it from the milk, but it also has protein and it has the calcium, so it does have some good things. We just have to go easy. Okay, let's see what the chicken looks like while I'm waiting for my other stuff. So there's the steam coming out. There's some juice, so that's all good, and any sort of bacteria has been killed. Heat kills any kind of bacteria, so that's why we want to cook our foods and cook them correctly. And then that's cold is also a way to make food stay from getting bacteria by sitting out. So you want to make sure about that. Okay, I am going to get a new fork. And before I would use a piece of chicken, I would want to cut in the center and make sure there's no pink. Okay, so that's a pretty thick piece, no pink. And this big one, not too bad. Again, that was the thicker one. I could have kept it on longer. And of course, these small ones, none. So all I'm going to do is cut up a few pieces of this chicken. And I don't like this knife. Doesn't work very well. And I'll put this on the salad. I'm going to go my tomato and peppers and cheese. And then I'm going to put some of this chicken on. And I can kind of shred it instead of just with my fork. Or pieces, however you want. It's your choice. And again, I'm going to just put a bit on. Here we go. So there's my lettuce. And I'm going to put all of this. See, oh, that's almost like nachos. I know, this probably seems a little weird, a little different. And then I'm going to put some of that, a little bit of my chicken on. Not a whole lot. I could put a little bit more cheese. I'm going to add some of my avocado. Now, avocado has vitamin A. It's one of our superfoods. It does have a lot of, there's good fat, but the fat does have calories, extra calories, no matter if it's good or bad. And then you know these, when you get to the bottom of the bag and it's just crumbs, this is what I like to use these for. I love tortillas, and I like to get the multi-grain kind because they have grains and different things that have some good grains in them. All right, there you go. Bon appetit. My taco salad. See you next time.